All right. When I was 24 years old, I took a sales job. I left an IT job that I had, and I took a sales job for an IT conference planning company called Marcus Evans. This was back in 2005, 2004, 2005, 2005. So back in 2005, I joined this IT conference company called Marcus Evans. And my job was to sell conference sponsorships to tech companies. So the organization would come up with these IT conferences. They would invite chief information officers of Fortune 500, Fortune 2000 companies. And my job was to sell conference sponsorships. So I would find companies that want to present their offer and get in front of these chief information officer delegates and conference attendees. Okay. I thought I was going to make a ton of money. I knew tech. I'm good with people. I thought it would be great. In my interview with the sales manager and with the sales director, they said I was one of the top 5 people that they had ever interviewed. They knew I was going to do well. They knew I was just going to just launch straight to the moon, especially because I had a tech background. So I started calling. It was a boiler room environment. We came to a desk. There were 4 or 5 of us around a desk. We did not have a computer. In this whole sales floor, there were 4 or 5 computers we all had to go to research prospects, print out lists from, I think it was Dun and Bradstreet or Zoom Info or something like that, and then cold call. The target was 80 to 100 calls, rather 80 to 100 dials per day. We should have 5 to 10 people picking up, and we should have 1 to 3 follow-up calls scheduled for a yes or no decision. So those are the numbers. That was the environment. I knew I was going to do well. 1 month in, I didn't make any sales. 2 months in, I didn't make any sales. 3 months in, I didn't make any sales. And I started getting scared because it was a base plus commission job, and the base at that time was $1,200 or $1,500 a month. That I couldn't live off of that. I was married at the time. I couldn't support myself and my wife off of $1,500 a month. Finally, I decided to niche down, to go all in on 3 niches. Niche number 1 were nearshore software development companies. Outsourcing to India was big. This was in the early 2000s. So I said, let me find companies that do nearshoring. So companies that are in South America, companies that are in Central America. So I said, okay, I'm going to come up with a list of software development nearshore companies. I came up with probably 20 or 30 of them, and I started calling. I made a sale. It was a $30,000 sale, and I couldn't believe it. It's because I niched down, and I focused, and I said, look, we're looking for nearshore software development companies to sponsor our conference so that they can get in front of our CIO, C-level IT attendees. And that worked. The next niche that I focus on were IT turnaround companies. So I know big IT projects fail. They're either over budget, they're either over deadline, or they lack the quality that they're supposed to have. So I said, I'm going to look for software companies, software development companies, or IT companies that focus on turning around failed projects. Again, I made a list of 50 or 100 consulting companies that I pulled up from Dun and Bradstreet, and I started calling. And the company that I ended up talking to and getting interested was this company called Dante Consulting. And I remember telling them, hey, look, we have these VPs of IT and chief information officers coming to our conference. Do you want to sponsor our conference and get in front of them? And the guy was like, yeah. That turned into a $30,000 or $33,000 sale. The third niche I decided to focus on was data storage. So there was a company called something Stream. I forgot what they were called. Anyways, the CEO's name was a guy named Dan Frazel. I looked at these data storage companies, got on the phone with this guy, Dan Frazel, who was the CEO, said, hey, look, we have a conference. We're going to have a few hundred IT directors and chief information officers and C-level, IT execs. Do you want to get in front of them? It was the same pitch. He's like, yeah, these are the type of people we sell to. We want our messaging in front of them. Another $33,000 sale. So after 3-4 months of a dry spell, me scared, wondering what I'm going to do, looking for another job, focusing, niching down, having my messaging specific, sharp, relevant, and timely because I focused and I niched down is what got me out of my sales slump and earned $120,000 in business, and then plus the commissions and everything that I got from that. So the moral of the story is if you're struggling, you got to niche down. What I'm doing with myself right now is I have 15 years of health tech experience, and I'm positioning myself now as an executive ghostwriter for health tech companies. I can work with two markets. One are healthcare technology companies that are trying to sell into hospital systems, into healthcare systems, into these big ambulatory service centers, etc. I understand the tech and I understand how to get in front of their market. And the second market I can work with are the health institutions themselves, whether it's doctors or the healthcare institutions and content that they want to publish and they want to pull out, or rather produce and put out for their market, which is their patients. So I'm positioning my business to skyrocket by focusing with tech entrepreneurs, specifically health tech entrepreneurs. Now, I don't have to pigeonhole myself and only stay with health tech companies. I can expand to a little bit more of a broad category, which is tech CEOs. But health tech is what's going to give me my best advantage. That's where I can dig in, differentiate myself, build that emotional resonance, show that I understand them. So if you're struggling to get clients, you have to niche down. Just like they did in World War II in the South Pacific, it was the island hopping strategy. Don't try to go everywhere. Don't try to do everything. Focus on one target at a time. Secure that, and then move on to the next. That advice is going to change the entire game. All of a sudden, content is going to ring true. Your outreach on LinkedIn and through email is going to ring true because you talking to people with messaging that's relevant, that's timely, that makes sense to them. You're not trying to be all things to all people. That's the advice that I had for you. That's what I tell my clients. And I'm telling you, it's worked for me in the past. It works for my clients. It's going to work for you. If you need help, message me, leave a comment, whatever, get a hold of me, and I'll come up with a strategy like this for you, no charge also.